I've noticed a lot of wellness studios in my area closing. In this episode, I discuss why that is and how to build a brick and mortar wellness business that lasts.
You are listening to the Sound Therapy Network podcast, where we talk about all things sound healing. This podcast is for practitioners and clients who want to learn more about this magical healing modality.
Welcome to the Sound Therapy Network podcast. I am your host, Niajae, owner of Bliss Wellness Studio in Tampa, Florida, and the creator of Somatic Sound Therapy. In this episode, I want to talk about how brick and mortar businesses are struggling. I see this across the board. There's no question that big box retailers have been closing little by little because so many people are shopping online. But I'm seeing so many wellness spaces closing as well, which is baffling because we are struggling with health and wellness and burnout and stress and depression and anxiety. But in this episode, we're going to dive into why some businesses are struggling and why some are thriving and what's the difference. If I had to break it down in one word, that one word would be adaptability. Things have changed. Things are drastically different now than what they were before COVID. How we shop, how we operate, how we connect with others, how we relate, how we communicate, things are different. And naturally, that's going to impact how we do business. So people that are stuck in how things used to be, and that's the only way that they know, may be struggling a little bit. But people that can adapt with the rapidly changing times and rapidly advancing technology are the ones who are able to adapt to the shifts that are happening in the world. I have a lot of notes that I want to go over. And before I dive into why brick and mortar businesses are failing, it's obviously no question that there is inflation, rent increases, property tax increasing, online competition, and this drastically impacts small businesses. But here's the thing that I want us to realize: people need community. People want to connect in person. People want safe spaces that they can go to because it's very different having an online community than being able to be in person with someone, feel their energy, be able to hug someone and feel that embrace. People need community. People need wellness spaces to be able to go to. No matter how much we're doing online, I believe that wellness spaces should still thrive in this climate. It's just the operations, the behind the scenes, have to look a little different. And when you integrate systems into your business, then you are able to build without burnout. And I work with entrepreneurs and business owners that are approaching or operating in burnout. That is my specialty at Bliss, is helping people repair and recover from burnout and regulate their nervous system. And it comes from me being a burnt out entrepreneur. So that's what made me want to work with people that are operating in burnout, specifically business owners and entrepreneurs, because I knew what it felt like to be a business owner that was burnt out, and we still have to get up and make sure the business runs. I know how it feels to wear all of the hats. But three brick and mortar businesses later, I've learned systems and how to work smarter and not harder. So let's talk about why brick and mortar businesses are failing. Number one, definitely, is online competition. If they don't have an online component, it's going to be hard. Number two is no reoccurring revenue. So this is really important. This is part of that systems: work smarter, not harder. Number three is overhead is too high without margins. Things are always way more expensive than what we probably think. So knowing your numbers, looking at your numbers, doing a P&L monthly or even daily, which is what I teach my mentees. The next one is owner burnout, which is huge. No membership model. So having memberships, having online courses, having digital products, which we'll get to in a moment, that is huge when it comes to having a brick and mortar business. And I know it feels like I can't do all the things. I can't have an online business and an in person business. It is a little bit of a juggling act, but these days, life is demanding and it's what it takes. And then under pricing, especially in wellness, especially in the healing space, there is a lot of unlearning we have to do about charging or going up on our prices. And then that desire to help underprivileged communities. But the thing is, the more resourced we are, the more we can actually serve our community from overflow rather than our cup becoming depleted. This is something I say to my clients and my practitioners. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of you and make sure that your cup is being poured into and replenished so you can continue to pour. If you are only serving underserved communities and you're not receiving resources from somewhere, that is going to deplete you. So, making sure that you have offerings for people that can pay for your services. And then, if you want to donate to underserved communities because you have that overflow, then that's the best way to do it rather than giving when you're not receiving. It is an ebb and flow, it is an energetic exchange. And unfortunately, money makes our world go around. We have to be able to support ourselves. So I know a lot of healers struggle with charging for their services, going up on their prices. But if everything around us is going up, everything from our online platforms to our rent to our insurance, if everything's going up, our prices have to reflect that as well. So the next one is no solid system. So looking at your numbers, reverse engineering, actually doing the math and seeing what's coming in, but not just what's coming in hourly or for a session or for an event, but looking at how much time went into that event: marketing, setup, travel time, breakdown, putting your equipment back, and then doing the math on how much you actually made if you take all of that into consideration. So, having solid systems where you're really looking at your numbers. And I remember I've been running Sound Therapy Network for several years and working with practitioners that are building their practice. And I teach a reverse engineering system and process. And I remember a practitioner getting a little angry with me. And I giggle now, but I'm like, you know, don't be angry at me because what was built wasn't sustainable. But if you look at the numbers first and work backwards before you build, that's the best way to go. Think about a house. When they're building a house, we can't go in and build the kitchen and build the closets first, right? You have to build the foundation of the house. You have to lay down the foundation or everything can crumble. So it's very easy to want to go in and have the really cool events and the pretty bowls and do all of the things that make a business fun. But if you don't have a solid foundation, if you haven't done the numbers, if you haven't built the system, that is where a lot of people go wrong, because then they try to look back and say, where did I go wrong? It's because you didn't have a solid system from the beginning. So, this is why having some type of business mentorship is really important, because I think online they make it seem like it's so easy to start a business. Social media makes it look like it's so easy to start a business, but you have to understand systems for it to be sustainable. So when I see this, I see some people really struggling, and then I see some people really thriving. And the people that are thriving, they have systems and they're also adaptable. They're adapting to the shifts and then forecasting, looking at the patterns to be able to say, okay, let me think ahead so I'm prepared for X, Y, and Z. And that's where having a business mentor definitely comes into place, because you're wearing all the hats and you're doing all of the things. So having someone that is looking ahead, that can say, hey, let's prepare for this, let's do this in advance, that definitely helps. Bliss is my third brick and mortar business, so I've learned all of this the hard way. I wish I could have had myself as a business mentor to learn from mistakes ahead of time so I didn't have to make them myself. But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and social media only shows a fraction of what's actually happening. So let's talk about what it actually takes to make a wellness studio work, to make a brick and mortar business work these days. And of course, this is for someone who doesn't have resources like family or a partner supporting them. If you have support, if you have resources, you have a lot more flexibility, you have a cushion. But not everyone has a cushion. I never had a cushion for any of the brick and mortar businesses that I started. So I had to build everything from the ground up. And these are ways you can build a sustainable practice even in this demanding society. Number one is reoccurring revenue. So having memberships, having repeat corporate clients, trying to get contracts where you're working with people continuously, getting people on auto drafts. It will make your life so much easier. Number two is having a hybrid model, so in person and digital. If you're only doing in person, that is going to be really hard. Really hard. So, the businesses that I know that are thriving, they have some type of online element as well. So, evergreen offerings like courses, digital products, meditations that they sell online. They have some type of app based extension. These days, you can create your own app or be on someone else's app that you are able to monetize, having content that you can monetize. These are things that have to be incorporated. It may sound like a lot of work having that in person portion and an online portion. And what I hear a lot of people say is, I'm not tech savvy, or they have a hard time with social media and marketing. Outsource, 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 outsource. There are people out there that love creating content. So if you're someone where you don't like social media, you don't like creating content, there are marketing and advertising and content creation agencies that you can hire to make life easier for yourself. The biggest thing that I want you to take away from this episode is work smarter, not harder.
Join me, Niajae, for a free webinar from local sound baths to wellness empire, how I built a thriving sound therapy business in 5 years. In this webinar, I dive deeper into the biggest mistakes practitioners make when trying to build their business, the systems that will make a wellness practice profitable, and how I built a trauma-informed modality backed by research, and also how you can build your own thriving practice without guessing and without burnout. If you are a sound healer, yoga teacher, or wellness coach who wants to turn your passion into a thriving business, click the link in the show notes to watch this free webinar.
The next one is having a CEO nervous system. And this is really important, especially if you are starting a wellness business, prioritizing your own health. Being a burnt out business owner when you're helping other people with their mental, emotional, and physical well being, but you feel like crap yourself, that leads to resentment and will only make the burnout worse. So, prioritizing your health, your well being, because we have to practice what we preach. I'm an advocate for embodied practitioners, making sure that we are feeling good in our own bodies, because people want to work with people that they know are truly practicing what they preach, walking the walk, talking the talk. Another important thing to know with this one is, if the owner is dysregulated, the business will be dysregulated. So, making sure that we are focused on our own well being. And it is a juggling act, especially in the first year, 2 year, 3 years of owning a brick and mortar business. It's hard, but it's possible with strategy, systems, and business boundaries. The next one is staff strategy. So, working with quality trained practitioners or partners, knowing that you can't wear all the hats in your business, especially when it comes to a brick and mortar business. And this can be challenging because people have different personalities, people want to start their own thing. So sometimes building that dream team can be really hard. And I have plenty of stories to share around that. It is a lot of work, but it's rewarding and it's possible. And when you get in a flow, life can be really fulfilling having a practice that's making an impact that's also supporting you. I did a post the other day where I said, I can't imagine doing anything other than what I do. And all three of my studios have all been wellness based, fitness, dance, movement, health based. So I can't imagine doing anything else. I know it's not easy, but it's possible. And if you feel this is part of your purpose and you're meant to serve in this way, this is why I am launching the Wellness Studio Incubator. It's a consulting program for entrepreneurs that are ready to open their own brick and mortar business. So I've been working with practitioners for years through Sound Therapy Network, offering business support and strategy. But what I realize is the level of support needed to open a brick and mortar business is very different if you're renting space from someone else or if you're just doing sound baths a couple times a month. So this is specific one-on-one consulting for practitioners that want to open a brick and mortar space. If you want more information about that, the link is in the show notes. And if you're a practitioner trying to figure out how to go from one sound bath event a month to a practice that can actually support you, but you may not be ready to open your own brick and mortar space just yet, the Somatic Sound Therapy Practitioner Certification and Mentorship is a great place to start. And then you can always work up to the one-on-one consulting. So information for that is in the show notes as well. If you are a client that has a wellness space that you love, make sure you are supporting your small businesses because a lot of them are trying to stay afloat with this demanding society we live in. Share this episode with someone that you know will find value in it. And until next time, wishing you healing and harmony.
Thank you so much for listening to the Sound Therapy Network podcast. Edgar Cayce says, sound is the medicine of the future. The future is now. By listening and sharing this podcast, you are contributing to the wave of healing in the world and safety in the healing space.